what's your take on the big beautiful bill, Stu?
It's interesting, Glenn. There is a lot of good in it. It is gigantic. So there is also a lot of bad in it. It's not I don't think it's a massive win in a lot of ways, especially because one of the biggest things it accomplishes is essentially reinstating Trump's 2017 tax cut. That expiring would have been horrible for the economy. So it is a big win, but in a way to us, because it's just continuing current policy, I don't think it's going to feel like that.
Yeah.
Looking at the way it broke down, we broke down all the different groups that were fighting against this. And it is interesting to see, we talked about this precise thing. You can either go in there and say, hey, here's a little giveaway to you, here's a little giveaway to you, here's a little giveaway to you, here's the thing that you want, and try to make all of these groups kind of come along. But that's difficult because each group has competing interests at times. Mm-hmm. And then the other approach is Trump can come in and say, do it. And
beat everybody bloody.
Yes, and that's exactly what happened. He said it would be the ultimate betrayal if the people voted against it. And when he said that, along with a bunch of the giveaways and different amendments they did at the end, wound up getting it across the finish line with, I believe, only 2 Republican no votes, and I believe also 2 present votes.
So here's one thing I want to point out. There is $1.7 trillion in cuts there, but that's not real.
Yeah.
When they pass this, it doesn't mean those cuts go in. They now, I don't understand the procedure, but they now have to go back, and Congress needs to say, okay, we're activating the cuts. So there's another step to that. So it's in the bill. If Congress will do it, that's really good. 1.7 in cuts would be great. It's still anywhere between $3 to $5 trillion over the next, 10 years in debt, I think they said. And, that's not good. And I think that's why our Treasury bills had a very, very bad day. Selling, hey, who wants to buy our debt? And everybody's like, I don't hear anybody. There's nobody in this room, is there? I mean, nobody wanted to buy them yesterday. That's going to be very, very bad. So how I interpret all of this is the clock is on. Donald Trump knows, his theory is grow your way out of the debt. I believe grow and cut your way out of the debt. But his point here is you can't grow your way out of the debt because you can't cut your way out of the debt. You have to grow your way. But if you're cutting, the government is so intertwined with everything right now. They've given so much money to everything that it's, what is it now? Like 35% or 40% of our economy is the government. And so he's like, if you cut that too drastically, too fast, you will cut growth. You'll have job reports that are bad, et cetera, et cetera. He's trying to spur on entrepreneurial spirit because that's the ones who actually create jobs are the entrepreneurs. In bad times, 80% of jobs come from small businesses. So now we have to see them putting the pedal to the metal to cut the regulation, especially for small business owners. So these small business owners can get to work. They have the tax cut now. Give them the regulation relief, and that would be tremendous. But a clock started this morning when they passed this bill, and I guess it has to go to the Senate, right? But they're expecting it to pass today or tomorrow, right?
Nah, I don't know. I mean, the Senate, again, is going to definitely change a bunch of stuff, and then it's going to have to come back together again with the House. And there's a long road here. They may get it across. The Senate is a little more resistant to Trump saying, hey, just do this than the House is. But you would think they're going to get something across the finish line eventually. Just God only knows what it looks like.
They're really pushing, and hats off to Congress this week. You could have done this long ago, but hats off to Congress. They are saying they want to finish it by this weekend. And that would be important for the country. But once, the clock has already started because it looks like it's going to pass this budget, which adds to our debt. And that's just going to start the clock. It's a race to the finish. Is the dollar going to lose value and our debt going to keep going up at such a rate that nobody wants to buy our bonds anymore, so we can't finance and we're paying out of control interest rates? Or is that happening and we're balancing it out because the entrepreneur and the small businessman is growing at such a rate of speed that the economy is producing more taxpayers? But that is, boy, I've never seen anything this close to the edge. It's a little terrifying.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in there that we wouldn't like. I mean, a good chunk of the Inflation Reduction Act, Green New Deal style spending is just left in there. I mean, I know, but this is just what I guess they feel like they have to do. As we said, it is difficult to get these things over the finish line with these small majorities. And you had some Republicans that didn't like the bill just not show up at all. Some of them just voted present. A couple of no's. Thomas Massey, I know, was one of them. There's massive problems with the bill, but again, Donald Trump wanted a deal, and, this is kind of what he goes after. I don't think he cares about every individual part of this. He wants to get the big stuff over the finish line, and I think that's where he is.
I want to talk about something else, and I think we disagree on this. There's a new report out that shows that members, I think it's of the NIH, hid and then tried to cover up the fact that they knew that there were real bad side effects to the vaccines. And this is now, documents have been produced that show that they knew it in advance and they covered it up. And I personally think these people are going to jail. I think the DOJ is going to prosecute them. I think you're going to see handcuffs on COVID in the next couple of weeks. But you don't agree with that, do you?
I will be surprised if you see. I mean, maybe there could be some. It's not impossible. I haven't seen every single allegation against each individual person. I'll be surprised, though, if the Trump DOJ is going to go, after, again, this is a vaccine that was Trump bragged about as one of his central accomplishments of his first term. So I don't know that he's going to see the results the same way. Now, if you have somebody who's lying, like we've seen some people lying on
we're talking about cover-up.
Yeah, I mean, but inside of that cover-up is the view that the vaccine is incredibly dangerous to people, which does not seem to be a position that Donald Trump holds. Now, of course, in theory, he's not micromanaging every single thing that the DOJ does, but I mean, I think they also do have a sense as to what his views are on a lot of these matters. So we'll see. I mean, you might be right on it. I wouldn't be completely shocked. There certainly are people in and around this apparatus that have done things. We've seen the emails around Fauci, for example, that I think are absolutely blatant crimes. So some of this could happen, but I don't know. If you're going to say over under arrests for vaccines killing people in the next few weeks, 2.5, I'd take the under.
Okay, let me. There's a couple of other stories. We've talked about the Israeli diplomats that were shot and killed by a guy from Chicago who was literally a Marxist, communist, radical that was, free Palestine. And that guy is in jail, and he's going to be tried, I think, in Washington, D.C., which doesn't make me feel real good. But there's also, and this is another huge story, I think. We now apparently have a whistleblower who is a very high, this is a quote, high level Democrat party member that is involved at the highest levels. And he has come out, or she has come out, as a whistleblower on 3 people in the White House that this whistleblower says was not only involved in hiding all of the conditions, but also they were profiting off of the auto pin. If that is true, you're going to see handcuffs on that as well, which would be really good for the Republic. Really good. And congratulations to the Democratic operative, if you will, the high-level Democrat. Of course, they did say Susan Rice, they said, the reporter said, is Susan Rice involved at all? He's like, no, definitely not Susan Rice. Definitely not Susan, which makes me think it was Susan Rice that was like, wearing a mustache. No, definitely not Susan Rice. She's a great one. I don't know. But we'll have to see where this goes. But I think those are 2 really big pieces that are really important, that show the direction of the DOJ and the FBI. In a week where we looked at the DOJ and the FBI at the beginning of the week and like, wait a minute, now you're starting to see some other things that say, well, wait, hold on. Now let's see them in handcuffs, but I think they're coming.